I also wanted to note that I really love that it didn't come up too far on these pockets. On the Neverfull one, it comes up a little far in the pocket. Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. I am so excited to bring you the Louis Vuitton On The Go GM versus a Louis Vuitton Neverfull MM. These are both gorgeous classic pieces, and I wanna share with you a side-by-side, maybe help you figure out which one's better for your collection or both, and all that good stuff. So if you enjoy all things luxury handbags, reviews, what's in my bag, all that good stuff, I would love for you to like and subscribe. If you would subscribe and help me grow this channel, I'd really appreciate it. I love bringing you guys this content, connecting with you, hearing what you love to enjoy, and maybe some reviews you want to see in the future. So don't forget to drop a comment, introduce yourself, and without further ado, let's get started. All right, friends, so like I said, today we are going to be checking out the Louis Vuitton On The Go GM versus, or side by side, the Louis Vuitton Neverfull MM. Now, the reason I decided to show you these two side by side instead of a Louis Vuitton On The Go GM and a Neverfull GM is because these bags are very, very similar in size. So if you want to see a full review on each bag individually, as well as the what's in my bag, make sure you go over to my channel and check out those videos, and it'll give you a more in-depth on each bag individually, and like I said, what's in my bag and all that good stuff. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started on these two. So first of all, as you can tell, this bag has the top handle carry, which is the On The Go GM, has a top handle carry option as well as a long strap carry option. These fold into the bag, they make it easy to carry on your shoulder, as well as that hand carry as well, hand/arm carry. As to where the Neverfull has the not long, but the shoulder straps that you can carry over your shoulder, and that's the option for this one on the Classic Neverfull style. Now, there are some Neverfulls that do have that additional shoulder / crossbody type carry that are newer in the Louis Vuitton line, but the Classic Neverfull bag versus the On The Go, that is one of the top things that's different on the top that you can carry and how you carry. I did find on this one that I tended to actually hand carry a little bit more, which was kind of interesting to me versus the Neverfull. Now, the other thing to note is with the straps on the arm carry option or over the shoulder is you have a longer strap length on the On The Go. As to where on the Neverfull, it's a little bit shorter than this one. So if you're looking for that longer carry, that might be just something to keep in mind. And remember, I will put those measurements for you guys below in the description. So you have those as well as the drop handle length and the sizes of the bags. So when it comes to the size of the bags, these are very, very similar in size. So the thing that I really wanted to share with you too on the On The Go versus the Neverfull, something that is kind of interesting with the shape is the Neverfull, you have this lovely classic tote, and it does pull in on the sides, you know, like all the Neverfull style, it has a little clench and pulls in. Otherwise, you kind of have this round open tote style. As to where On The Go, it kind of looks like it's a square style, but you do have where it actually comes in on the sides. So this is something kind of interesting when I was experimenting with the organizers that I noticed. So if you get an organizer that's a little too big, what you're going to have, or where it seems like it actually fits, you're going to have it changing the style of the bag a little bit because it pushes out too much. What I mean by that is the On The Go naturally has this little fold in on the bag, and it's kind of like, it's not quite a pleat, but it's really, really adorable. And if you get an organizer that seems like it would fit, like the Neverfulls to where it holds out the shape, what you're going to do is you're going to actually make the bag look a little stressed, if you will, because it'll start changing the top a little bit. It'll kind of bulk out funny on the sides. So what I found is these organizers, you don't want them to fit the same as on the Neverfull. So you want a little bit of that space so you can have the natural shape of the bag still there. So this organizer, let me see if I can show you guys. I put the handles in the way a little bit, but I wanted to show you the organizers in these bags as well because I did put them in both. So let's go ahead and check that out real quick, and I will show you my reasoning for this. So This is what the on the go looks like with that organizer inside. As you can tell, it has a little bit of room on the sides to keep that shape of the bag, which I absolutely love and I think is really important when using this bag because like I said, other ways you get kind of a funky, wonky shape to it, which was actually a little different than I thought. I was thinking that this one, it would help if you had that full kind of base shaper organizer in it like the Neverfull, but it just did not work. So I will try to link my organizer I have in this one currently from Amazon in the description below as well. I found that it's really nice for this bag. I like that it kind of, like I said, keeps that structural integrity, but it works out really well. As to where this one, this is actually a totally different brand organizer. I really liked this one for the Neverfull. This is the first time I've gotten one of these organizers, and I love the fit, guys. I think it was just adorable. It fills it out so you don't get as much of the smushy. You can't do the side clenches. So that other organizer that I talked about in my other videos where it's a little smaller, I do like that one for different times. Like pulling the side clenches in. So this is what you have right now and how it, if you can tell, it just, you can't pull it in with that organizer. As to where the other one I shared with you, the little bit smaller, you can. So this is the fit on it. I have that wristlet in there as well. But I love the chunky hardware on this organizer. I just love how it fills out the bag and it comes up to a nice height. The one other thing to note is since this one's higher than the other organizer I shared, it does come up higher in your pocket, but you can still use the pocket. It still functions well. It's not covering that, but it is right up there with it. So I found that this one's a really nice option if you don't want to worry about doing the side clenches or any of that stuff and you like to keep the shape and a little bit more structure to the bag. Okay, so this is how the organizer fits in this bag. It, like I said, is a little bit smaller and you're not pushing on the sides like you would on the Neverfull. You need a little bit of that room. I believe this one was in the size large. And they do tend to give you recommendations over on Amazon of kind of which bag it would fit in. It has lots of room, good amount of pouches. I also wanted to note that I really love that it didn't come up too far on these pockets. On the Neverfull one, it comes up a little far in the pocket, but it gives you plenty of space to still use the original pockets in the bag. Also, if you're looking for that date code and heat stamp for the pre-love market, then on the go, sometimes you might have the date code and sometimes you might not, but your heat stamp's gonna be right here. And your date code is going to be in this pocket if it has one off to the side. That's kind of hit or miss because they did come out around the time that a lot of the date codes were discontinued or somewhat discontinued, I guess you could say. But that's where you would find that, as well as your made-in stamp would be off to the side of the bag over here. So if you're needing that for that third-party authentication, that's where you'd find that. But overall, I really like the size of this organizer. And if you scoot it over to the side, let's see, that's about how much room you would get. But I like to put it right in the middle, like I said, so you get a little bit of that original shape to the bag and you're not losing that. All right, so here's the fit of this organizer on the Neverfull. Like I said, this is the first time using this brand and I absolutely love the fit. So it works really well as long as you're not wanting to do the side clenches. If you were, then I would do that other organizer I was talking about, which I'll link both in the description below. This one does come up kind of high on the pocket, but it leaves just enough room for that zipper to be able to access that pocket and still use it. I love the quality of this organizer, the shape of it, how it fits in the bag and holds the structure really well. You can also add in your little pochette with it. It fits almost in any spot in this pouch. You have these little side compartments. You could even slip this. It has enough room to go behind it if you wanted to. But it does have that removable middle pouch as well, which is wonderful. And it just functions really well. So a couple things also, because you know I want to show you heat stamp and date code if you need those. You have your heat stamp over here. And if it's a Neverfull with the date code, it would be behind this flap. Now, again, you know, sometimes Louis Vuitton is a hit or miss these days for date codes, so it might not be in there, but or if it's chipped, it would be around there. And you also have your made-in stamp back on this side. So that's the fit of this organizer overall. I really love this one, and I will link it in the description, but it has been wonderful for this piece. Now, the other thing to note is that these do not have the base shapers in them. So if you're going to be carrying something a little bit heavier, like a laptop or tablet, you may want to check out those plastic base shapers as well. And I will try to get a link to some of those and test those out for you guys too. some different types, but what you have is you have like that kind of like the felt lining. And so if you put something heavier, you're most likely gonna have that, you know, deforming at the end of the bag where it sags a little bit, which is okay. And I love the smushy look of a bag, but sometimes it feels a little awkward when carrying those heavy things. So that is something to note. As to on the go, it still is canvas, but it has a little bit more structure to it. So that one wouldn't be as much of the, you know, deformation with carrying heavy things as the Neverfull, but you could still run into that. Just to note. So that is something really, really fabulous about these bags, is that they have their own shapes to them and they have their own function. One other thing I wanted to share with you that is a big difference between these two with the Classic Neverfull Monogram versus the on-the-go GM in reverse is the weather durability. So this one has that classic vachetta leather, which is gorgeous. We all love a good vachetta leather and the right time. So this one would be more weather friendly to me. This is a year-round bag. You could use it when it's raining or snowing and not really have to worry about that, as to where the Neverfull, you still have that. Now there are other prints that you could get and not have to worry about that. So that is totally an option as well. And I love that about Louis Vuitton, that they offered multiple options for prints on bags and that you could get a weatherproof one. But just on that classic monogram with the vachetta, that is something a little different. You just have to get a different leather on it or different print. So that are a couple different things on those. The other thing I wanted to note is the height difference. So you have just a tiny hair of a difference with height. Now this also comes back to the structure of the bag. So you have the height difference, but you also have a different feel when you're carrying on your shoulder. This one has more of that structure to it at the top, as to where the Neverfull still, even with the organizer, has a little bit more of a smushy, comfortable feel to it. This one I do not find uncomfortable, but that is just something to keep in mind, that you still have more of that structure when you're carrying it on your shoulder. And this one, I think it kind of balances out since it has more structure, but it carries a little bit lower. So for me, I found that since it has the structure and you're carrying lower, you don't feel like the boxy is necessarily on the arm awkward if it's really good. So that was a plus to this one. But just to note, you do have that little bit of a height difference and whatnot. So I will leave the in the description the measurements on both and the comparison sizes. But this is kind of what it looks like side by side if you have the two ends. They are very, very similar. And we'll put them, let's see. I know you can read measurements, but for me, I have to see it side by side and I have to see it to really understand the size of it. So there's the two. And then if you have them right like this, it's really, really close, because the Neverfull has that little bit of smush. And this one, like I said, the structure is just a little bit different since you do have the shapes on the sides, as to where this one just sits a little different. So honestly, if you like a Neverfull MM and you're looking for another tote bag, the on-the-go GM could be a great option for you. I think the MM is wonderful as well, but if you just need that size tote, I would say this is your best option for that. The MM is just a smidge smaller, but like I said, this I would say is the most comparable size with them together. Thank you so much for joining me today, friends. I always love getting to bring you a good handbag review video, what's in my bag comparisons, and all that good stuff. So if you enjoy luxury handbags, what's in my bags, and all that good stuff, I would love for you to like and subscribe. You subscribing truly helps build this channel, and I look forward to sharing new videos with you each week. So I'll see you next time. Bye, friends.